Thanks a lot, Tom. Welcome, everyone, to Jacksonville, Florida. And it's time for the 2015 edition of the TaxSlayer Bowl. From Everbank Field, a matchup between Iowa at 7-5 and the 6-6 Tennessee Volunteers. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore. Jessica Mendoza down in the field joining us in just a bit. All the best in 2015. Rod, one of the prevailing storylines from bowl season as a whole, like the matchup on the field, SEC against Big Ten. Conferences going in different directions right now.
Yeah, these bowl games matter. We see that. Reputations are made and lost here. The Big Ten's reputation ascending because of Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin. SEC West has taken down the SEC's reputation. These two teams today will have an impact on how their conferences, their respective conferences, are viewed going into next season.
Sentiments echoed by both coaches and players from the respective teams in our meetings yesterday. Tennessee won the toss, deferring to the second half. Jonathan Parker back deep for the Hawkeyes. It'll be Parker from the goal line. Tried to put on the brakes and slips down at the 18-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for Jake Rudock. Rudock, the junior quarterback out of Western Florida, 6'3", 208 pounds. Guy that's completing 63% of his passes on the season, 16 touchdown passes against 5 interceptions.
And you saw C.J. Beathard on the sideline in a headset. We will see Beathard on the field as well. We will see both quarterbacks. That is a change for Iowa.
First down and 10. Mark Wiseman, the lone back for the Hawkeyes. Quick three-step drop. The pass incomplete. Intended for Cavante Martin-Manley.
You know, that quarterback situation, Jonesy. Rudock has been the two-year starter, but had a relatively poor game against Nebraska, their last outing. Struggled in the red zone. And after that, Kirk Ferentz decided to open up the quarterback competition and said he will play both, and then decide at halftime who gets it the rest of the way.
Beathard, the backup, has played in 8 games this year, actually started one. There's a win at Pitt. Second and 10. Rudock completes his first pass. That's Tavon Smith. And Smith is going to pick up a first down into Volunteer territory. There was a missed tackle on the play by Cameron Sutton on the corner.
Well, you know, this is a team that is really built on power running, and right now they are trying to loosen things up by coming out, throwing the ball wide, loosening up the bot so that they can come back and run inside. Not a very fast offense, but Smith certainly has some speed on the outside for Iowa.
Malcolm Wadley now in the backfield, dotting the I. Wadley goes off to the right side, off tackle down to the 45-yard line. Rod, let's talk about the respective styles of these teams when you look at Iowa's running game.
Yeah, well, Iowa wants to play this game in a phone booth. They want to be inside the tackle box. They want to pound you. They like their big offensive line. They've got a lot of strong guys up there, guys you will see playing on Sunday. And then they've got a big 240-pound sledgehammer in the backfield in Mark Wiseman.
Wiseman has rushed for over 800 yards this year. Right now it's Wadley in there. He gets the call, and he got stoned. That's going to be a loss of about 3 yards on the play. Kurt Magid, who came into the game with 11 sacks, shows you why he was all SEC this year.
Well, that Tennessee defense is built on speed, very much like their offense. And Magid has that. He uses that in pass rushing. He used it to shoot the gap that time. And now they're in the situation they want. They've got their 5 defensive backs on the field. This is speed. They want to turn loose their pass rushers in these situations.
Rudock incomplete, a little bit of contact, but no call intended for Martin Manley. Good coverage by Justin Coleman, and it'll be 4th and 8 for the Hawkeyes.
Hey, how about an early advantage for youth and speed over experience and power? That's the big man, Brandon Sheriff there, the left tackle, the likely first-round pick, Outland Trophy Award winner. Got worked a little bit by a little combination of some speed up there, including number 9, Derek Barnett.
Barnett, an all-SEC selection. Freshman All-American as well. This punt close to going to the end zone. Let's see if they Spotted. Oh, it's going to be a touchback. Didn't quite get there in time. A 48-yard punt by Corn Brath. And that was close. Let's take one more look.
Remember, it is the ball, not the player. So his feet, his body in the end zone does not matter. What matters is, does the ball break the plane? And from that angle, I can't turn that around.
It's going to come out to the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that is a call by the official. It's not going to be reviewed.
There's a look at Josh Dobbs, starting quarterback in the last 4 games for the Volunteers. He went 3-1 since taking over from Justin Worley. Pulls it out on first down. Pass complete to Jalen Hurd, the tailback, and no gain on the play. That's actually going to be a loss of 1. Bo Bauer making the stop. There's a look at the numbers on the talented sophomore quarterback who a year ago came on in relief late, and pretty much the same story this year, going 3-1 down the stretch.
Yeah, took over for Justin Worley after his injury, and they're looking for consistency from him.
Hurd on the handoff. Made a couple guys miss. And there you see the long and angular Jalen Hurd from Henderson, Tennessee, getting the first down before finally being brought down by Desmond King. A 25-yard gain on the play.
Yeah, well, they talk about speed, and he has it for a big guy, 6'3", 225. A lot of folks have compared him to Adrian Peterson, Eddie George. To me, he's much more like Marcus Allen, old school.
High praise, too, Rob.
Glides, great hands, change of direction.
And for almost 800 yards on the season. Pounded straight away, a 2-yard gain. Davis making the stop on the play. Hurd on the carry.
You know, Hurd is such a dynamic player. He was kind of a big thing in high school. More than 3,000 yards rushing in 1 season. Everybody throughout Tennessee knew about him. Everybody wanted him.
2nd and 8. Dobbs back to pass under a little bit of pressure. Davis couldn't get him. Dobbs taking off now. Across midfield and down to the 43-yard line. And a first down for the Volunteers. Josh Dobbs picking up 11. Let's take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Franklin American Mortgage.
Well, we told you about the 2 quarterbacks for Iowa. They got to pick one. Weissman's got to carry the ball. For Tennessee, you just saw it. Speed, pace, and space. How quickly they run plays and getting out on the perimeter.
Pass complete to Johnson. And Johnson with a nice gain, about 6 yards on the play. Jonathan Johnson, a 5'9" junior.
Jonesy, this is SEC speed against Big Ten power. I mean, most of our plays on this offense of drive have been to the perimeter.
2nd down and 4. They run it straight ahead with Martin Lane, and Lane picks up the first down. Tennessee Volunteers won 3 of their last 4 games down the stretch to become bowl eligible.
Talk about a program that is really hitting its stride on the comeback trail behind that man, Butch Jones.
And off to Hurd. Breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet. The irrepressible Jalen Hurd with another Volunteer first down. Picked up 12.
Really like him. I mean, he's got that glide, that smooth, long-legged glide that just really is deceptive. You think he's not moving as quickly as he is, but he really is.
Inside the 20. Howard in motion. They give it to him on the fly sweep, and he's on the fly. Howard, 1st and goal, Vols. Alton Howard making his way through.
Well, partner, all week as we looked at tape, it was all about speed, getting to the outside, and the pace. Quickly back to the line of scrimmage.
Handed off to Hurd. Touchdown. If you were ever trying to gauge what this game meant to the Volunteers and their fan base, don't tell them that this game doesn't matter. Rocky Top showing out in full effect in the stands and on the field as Alton Howard scampered to set up this run by Hurd. And you can hear a lot of Rocky Top when we come back. Tennessee Volunteers, orange, the prevailing color in the stands today, as we take a close look at one of the interior matchups, Rod, that's going to be one of the big storylines. Brandon Scherf against Derek Barnett. We saw a little bit earlier.
He's a great player. As I mentioned, an Outland Award winner, likely the first pick when you talk about offensive linemen in the draft. And he's a guy with great athleticism. See his footwork and speed, 320 pounds, able to get out there and do that. And if you want to take a pancake, he'll serve him up. Man, he's a big, strong, powerful guy who came back this season, even though he was likely to be a first-round pick last year. Man, he's in a nice little matchup with Derek Barnett, who's the youngster going up against him.
On the kick, Parker back deep from the goal line. Parker put on the brakes again, and pretty much the same result as the opening kickoff, brought down to the 16. For more on that matchup up front, let's go down to Jessica.
Well, Jonesy, the best part about this matchup is the fact that the freshman, Derek Barnett, does not fear Sheriff. The defensive coordinator, John Jasek, asked him this week, hey, let's put you on the other side. That way you're not so neutralized. Barnett stared the defensive coordinator right in the eye and said, I want him. So this is a fearless freshman up against a tough senior. Going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Yeah, sure will.
Love the confidence, but be afraid.
Careful what you ask for sometimes. C.J. Beathard now in at quarterback for the Hawkeyes. And this is their second series of the game. He hands it off to Wiseman, trying to pound his way straight away. Might have gotten a couple yards on the play. C.J. Beathard completed 57% of his passes on the season for 500 yards. 3 touchdowns against 1 interception, characterized as having a very quote-unquote quick arm by the coaching staff as Rudock watches this series from the sidelines.
He is from Tennessee, but was never offered by Tennessee. Actually committed to Ole Miss when he came out of high school, but eventually ended up at Iowa instead when there was a coaching change at Ole Miss.
On 2nd and 8, Beathard completes his pass. And that's going to be a first down to the tight end, Ray Hamilton.
You know, the quarterback situation at Iowa got a little messy over the last week, 10 days, when there was a newspaper story with comments attributed to C.J. Beathard's dad saying that, well, Beathard might consider transferring if he didn't see more playing time. But the coaching staff said they had already decided to open up the competition following the Nebraska game. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, not just today, but in the offseason.
Genzeri on the play action. Beathard with a ton of time, taking a shot downfield to Smith. Contact and a flag. Justin Coleman was back there for the balls. And this might be pass interference against the defense.
Well, and he was in good position. He didn't have to put his hand out, but he took his left hand and put it on the lower body.
Pass interference. Number 27 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. It's an automatic first down.
You know, when you are in that position, you actually have to catch up to the receiver before you look back for the ball. You catch up to him and then look back for the ball, but instead Coleman was looking back for the ball and reached out with his hand to slow down the receiver. Easy call.
Yeah, he had a handful of jersey there too. First down and 10. Out at the 44-yard line, Jordan Genzeri in the backfield. Single back set for the Hawkeyes. Beathard trying to throw that back shoulder fade for Damon Powell. That was incomplete.
Well, Sutton over there got away with a little grab of the jersey himself. And these corners feel very confident with their technique and their speed. They like the matchup. They believe that they can play man coverage against these receivers and not be afraid of them running by them, which is why you see Iowa taking shots. They want to loosen things up so they can run the ball inside.
And Genzeri in the backfield on 2nd and 10. He gets the call across the 45 for a couple of yards. Rod, let's go back to one of the points you talked about with Beathard at quarterback. It seems to be at this time of year during bowl season, it's almost like a quarterback free agency. You hear a propensity for a lot of talk about quarterbacks in particular potentially transferring.
Well, the guys most likely to leave are quarterbacks. You know, they want to play. And as you've seen with, say, Ohio State, you can have 2, 3 guys who can really play. And they don't want to sit and watch. They want their opportunity. Beathard's no different. And we see it across the country.
Third and 8. Beathard under heat. Got rid of it. Completed it to Kanziri, and he picks up the first down. A Houdini of an escape job for 12 yards and a first.
By both of them. How about Beathard staying alive, extending the play, and then Kanziri making the first down? He's under duress. Look at him extend the play, and he still gets rid of this and takes a big-o shot from Barnett. And on the other end, Kanziri, he does not have the first down right there. But look at that move to get it done. These guys are playing their hearts out.
Sure is. An Iowa team playing in their 6th bowl game in the last 7 years. Tennessee, meanwhile, looking for their first bowl win in 7 seasons. On 1st and 10, Beathard, all kinds of real estate in front of him, and he goes down head first at about the 36-yard line, a gain of about 6 or 7 of them.
And Tennessee defensively is trying to play 8 guys in the box near the line of scrimmage. They're bringing one of their safeties down, which is why you keep seeing Iowa look down the field and try to loosen them up and take shots to the outside, because Iowa wants to run the football inside.
Going up against some young Tennessee players. They have 7 starting freshmen overall, and they're 2 deep. Wiseman puts them in field goal range, or at least on the fringes of it. A 4-yard gain by Mark Wiseman, who spent a semester at the beginning of his collegiate career at the Air Force Academy. Didn't play there, and then, like so many prominent Iowa players have done in the past, walked on at Iowa, since that time put on scholarship, and has been one of the key cogs for them.
Yeah, he's wearing a harness on that left shoulder that's been banged up, but this is his time. 3rd and 2. This is his time.
Actually thought I saw a quarterback under center lining up in an I formation there. Huh? Spread?
See, things come back around.
You talking spread? Back in a minute.
That has been brought back to Tennessee football.
3rd and 2. I formation. They gave it to Wiseman, the fullback. First man through, pardon me. That's Peldla. And he didn't get it. 4th down coming up.
Well, I thought it was Wiseman time on 3rd and 2. They used him as a decoy, but he's the guy. So I stay here and I give him the ball.
Looks like they're going to stay on the field and go for it.
Well, look, you know, if Wiseman's good enough to put the pads on, harness or no harness, he's got to get the ball in these situations.
Little muscle against speed here. Wiseman might have gotten there on 2nd effort. Let's see where they come in with a spot. And according to the spot, he may not have gotten there. He didn't.
Not even worth the measurement. Wow.
So the young Volunteers, with a bunch of freshmen, Brash and Young, coming up big on a definitive 4th down stand. College football, and sometimes, Rod, you got to, on the sideline, keep your head on a swivel, or else you get hit with some friendly fire.
Oh, come on, coach. That's Desmond King, the cornerback, who got his coach, and look at him. He's just going to wear that. No Band-Aid. Yeah, don't help me out.
Iowa tough, man.
Yep.
Coach Ferentz in his 16th season on the sidelines for the Hawkeyes. Dobbs hands it off to Hurd, breaking another tackle and using that straight arm for a great advantage on Lomax.
Well, we talked about the speed and getting to the perimeter. That's the Tennessee game plan. Look at the yardage. before that last play. 69 yards outside, 11 between the tackles.
And on that first drive, Rod, 75 of their 80 yards were on the ground. Hurd already with 57 yards rushing. And a little jet sweep again. That's Devin Young.
Let's go back to that last play with Hurd. Now, I've been on the receiving end of something like that from Marcus Allen. And that's why this man reminds me of Marcus Allen. You know, that gliding stride, powerful, change of direction, and the ability to catch the ball.
On the play action. Gets the ball out on time, and a nice catch on the edge by Von Pearson. Pearson, maybe their most elusive receiver out there.
This pace is unusual for Iowa to face defensively. They play about 64 snaps a game defensively, and Tennessee is turning up the heat. They want to push them to 75, 80 plays.
First and 10. 2-yard gain on the play by Jalen Hurd. And get back to Josh Dobbs. Won 3 of the last 4 games of the season for Tennessee. They were actually hoping to redshirt him, but when Worley was injured, they threw him in the ball game and took the red shirt off. Young man from an absolutely wonderful family. Mom and dad here in attendance today. Hands it off to Hurd. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Tennessee. Couple of missed tackles here, but a great run, Rod.
Well, they did a great job of taking care of Carl Davis up front, moving him out of the way with a great block, and Loudermilk and Maben could not bring down the big guy, 6'3", 225 pounds.
Well, Butch Jones said he was concerned about handling Iowa's physicality. Tennessee seemingly the more physical team here. A strong run and a 14-0 lead. Second touchdown of the day for Hurd.
Far. New Year's Day, New Year's Eve.
Been some real compelling games in the last couple of days. Jonathan Parker with his 3rd kickoff return. This time got beyond the 20 out to the 23-yard line where it'll be first down and 10. And let's see who comes out this time. For Iowa, we've seen one series of Rudock, one of Beathard.
And now it's back to Rudock. I'm not a fan.
You don't like this system?
I think you have to let your quarterback get into a rhythm. One series and then alternating never lets you get into the flow.
Rudock, the pre-med major, only 3 credits shy of graduating. Coach Ferentz might find himself recruiting both he and Beathard again.
Look at Tennessee sneak an 8th guy into the box there.
On the jet sweep, that's Parker. Got a yard on the play, not much room up front. Legit making the tackle.
Look at Tennessee sneaking everybody into the box. They get 8 guys in there to stop the run. They don't fear the speed of Iowa on the outside. They want extra bodies inside to deal with the power up front.
Second down and 9. Wiseman in the backfield. A little bit conspicuous by his silence so far. Pass is incomplete. And what a huge hit on Hillier by Justin Coleman was there, and Brian Randolph actually lowered the boom.
Well, these defensive backs are sitting and playing for the short routes. They do not fear Iowa running by them. So they are jumping on the short routes. That's why you get contact like that. That's Randolph getting in there. But until Iowa is able to loosen these guys up, you're going to see more plays like that, and you'll probably see a pick because they're jumping all over the short routes.
3rd and 9. Little pressure coming on Rudock. And he throws it away, incomplete. 4th down.
Hey, Speed's winning.
It is so far. Reeves-Maben there on the pressure along with Kurt Magid.
Now I want you to watch Rudock. He decides to take off and run and realizes he can't outrun these defensive linemen and linebackers. And that's when he pulls up.
You talk about the speed of the SEC and the relative power of the Big Ten. I wonder how much of those stereotypes really hold in the big picture. On the fly, the punt retrieved at the 48-yard line by Cameron Sutton. Right, I want to get back to that point a little bit. Last night in that game, Ohio State, as they took on Alabama, there's a general perception that the SEC has a preponderance of speed and that the Big Ten is about power. There were some Big Ten guys running away from SEC guys last night.
I thought Tim Tebow made an excellent point post-game that this was one of the few occasions where you've seen a team show up and play Alabama, and Alabama was not faster. Alabama was not bigger. Alabama was not quicker than the team they faced. And so while you think about those stereotypes generally, we've seen a shift and change. Urban Meyer has turned Ohio State into an SEC-type team.
Lane in the backfield. Looking at the double pass here. Wide open downfield. Wharton. Touchdown, Tennessee. Marlon Lane with a great toss here for a running back, Rod.
Just put it out there. Let your guy go make a play. Greg Maben, the corner on that side, sucked up. Loudermilk came up for the run, and beautiful toss.
Minute and a half to go here in the first quarter. This Tennessee Volunteer offense has been indomitable and irrepressible in the first little bit of this game. And they have really stunned the Hawkeye defense. They've got them on their heels and reeling right now. Wharton with the catch. And this team is really bursting with energy right now, reflective of its second-year head coach, Butch Jones. It was Jones that told us yesterday. He said, you know, we need a win badly for so many different reasons. These young guys, this is the youngest team in Division I FBS football. He said, we need to see the fruits of all the labor.
Yeah, he's right. And you think about this postseason and the themes that we've picked up on. We've got another one here today. You know, Joe Tessitore, our buddy, we've talked about this in the postseason, the young running backs who are making statements. We've seen Jalen Hurd today. You know, Royce Freeman in the Rose Bowl last night with Oregon. Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette with LSU we saw the other day. The young running backs are showing up in this postseason. Bodes well for 2015, doesn't it?
Parker watches it go through the back of the end zone. Jessica, it looks like Iowa needs a bigger boat right now.
Well, Mark, you talk about their defense reeling their offense on the sideline after that last touchdown. Helmets were thrown, towels hitting the bench, already showing a lot of frustration, not even through the first quarter, and C.J. Beathard got off the bench and started throwing some more passes.
And he's coming to the ball game now, Jessica, on this fourth offensive series for the Hawkeyes. Coach just said it would basically be a you make it, you take it type scenario.
Neither one of them made it yet.
Yeah, we're still waiting. Wadley in the backfield dotting the I. Cleva, the fullback. And it's Wadley tripped over the 22-yard line with nobody near him.
Yeah, look, Kirk Ferentz has been doing this stuff a long time, and he's got his reasons for doing these things. I just don't think you help your team when you're exchanging the quarterback every series, particularly when you're down 21-0. I think you need a leader. You need somebody to rally behind that will get the troops going, as opposed to looking to the sideline. Hey, who's running the show now? Now, he said he would probably make a decision at halftime as to who to go with in the second half. Might be too late by then.
That'll be an interesting question if this deficit continues to grow. Less than a minute to go here in the first quarter. First quarter dominated by the Volunteers. On the screen, incomplete. Intended for Wadley. Is that a result those kind of miscues a result of changing quarterbacks, Rod, when you see them missing by inches here?
Well, I think it's a little bit of that, but it's also a little bit of dealing with the speed of Tennessee. I mean, when you come out to throw and there's a guy in your face a little bit faster than you expected, that impacts things. Let's see how Barnett, their leading sack leader on the bottom, is able to do on this passing situation.
Interesting matchup here. Beathard on the run and incomplete. Vandenberg, the intended receiver, and a 3-and-out.
There is the top offensive lineman, Sheriff, just riding Barnett out of the way. I mark that a win for our big old lineman there.
He wins that one, even though he's got to come off.
Team loses, he wins the individual battle.
There's the punt. That will careen out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. You know, I remember asking my colleague Chris Spielman a couple of years ago, who played in the Big Ten, of course, and in the NFL, about the whole speed issue. I asked him, Chris, what kind of speed did you have? Were you close to 4.4? He said, no, I didn't have 4.4 speed, but I ran down a lot of guys that did have it.
Yeah, football speed and football instincts. That can make up for a lot when you know where you're going and where you need to be.
Yeah, great point, Rob.
Look for tips and keys to help you out.
Right now, Tennessee has run over that scout report pretty well. 3 touchdowns in their last 7 plays. And their quarterback Dobbs with a hot hand. Howard with the first down at the 49-yard line of Tennessee. Alton Howard with a nice catch, and there's a look at Joshua Dobbs' mom. Watching this game.
Says his parents have been to every sporting event he's ever participated in his entire life.
Wow.
Never missed one.
And her husband and Josh's dad, Robert, also watching the ball game. As Dobbs has been on point in the first 15 minutes. A little trickery working for Tennessee and doing it with a little bit of muscle and hustle. 21-0 when we come back to Jacksonville. First and 10. Dobbs on that little receiver screen completes the pass to Josh Malone. Malone will get 3 yards on the play. Second down and 7.
You know, Tennessee is in the SEC East, and that division has been a little shaky. They could be a player there next year, and I mean the West has been less than scintillating in the postseason.
The landscape in the East is going to change a little bit with McElwain of Florida as their head coach now. And close to the first down run by Jalen Hurd. Lomax making the stop on the play. Here's what the SEC West has done in bowl games so far, going 2-5 overall. Which one surprised you the most, Rod, of all those, if you had to say one?
Well, that one. You know, that was the one that really surprised me because you had a quarterback making only his second start.
Right.
And so you figured that Alabama would take advantage of that. But overall, to see it 2-5 out of the SEC West. Oof.
Pass complete to the edge. Pearson dragged down from behind by his jersey by Maurice Fleming.
The one thing I would say about that, the SEC West, that has been coming for the last couple of years.
How so?
We have seen a little bit of the other leagues catching up with the SEC, but it takes a big watershed event like this postseason for everyone to see it.
7-yard gain, second down and 3. Dobbs going to keep himself running into the boundary and picks up enough for the first down, and right now in the fringes of field goal range. You talk about Dobbs and a quarterback that really gets it in terms of being a student athlete. I mean, folks, any quarterback who has aerospace engineering as one of his classes, he can play for my team.
Yeah, and he said he saw some airplanes being built when he was a kid and decided that's what I want to do.
His team taking off right now. Marlon Lane in the backfield. Takes the handoff. How'd you like to put a rough play there, but no flag. Well, took a little bit of time, but there's the flag. Reggie Spearman, the perpetrator there for the Hawkeyes. Perhaps a little bit of frustration there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense. Half the distance to the goal line. That's an automatic first down.
Whistle has blown. Play is dead. Enough already.
That was an easy one. Easy one to call.
Let me know if it's coming this way, son.
First down and 10 now from the 13-yard line. Marlon Lane in the backfield. Pearson in motion. On the jet sweep, that's Pearson. Pearson with a nice game brought down by Jewell. 5-yard gain.
Yeah, Jonesy, you mentioned Chris Philman earlier, and tips, cues, looking for things. I think, linebackers and safeties always look at the running backs, try to get a clue about something. Where do they line up? How far behind the quarterback are they? Are they even? Are they behind them? And what does it tell you? Those are things that you look for.
Dobbs with a lot of time. Nice move to get away. Touchdown, Tennessee. And Mom loving it. Dad as well.
Well, Dobbs extends this play. His running back steps up to give him a little bit more pass protection, and then he just creates with his feet. We've talked about his athleticism, his quickness, his speed, his smarts. Man, and he is only a sophomore. Wait until he figures it all out.
Well, I think if he can figure out aerospace engineering, he's got a good shot of figuring out everything else. 28-0 Tennessee. Wants to fly planes. Well, you know what? He's doing pretty good with the offense right now, or at least make planes. Howard County, recruiting-wise, Al Golden's team down in Coral Gables going to have to fight off some challenges for some very talented players down there in South Florida.
What?
Parker.
What?
Is that a fumble?
He threw the ball back onto the field. But he stepped out, fortunately for him.
A bizarre day so far for the Hawkeyes. Let's take one more look at this.
Now this makes no sense at any level in flag football. Why would you do that?
He's lucky they ruled it out of bounds first.
Well, it would have been an illegal forward pass, but
what's he thinking?
I mean, still,
his foot might have been down before.
Yeah, but
he
it's
threw
a forward lateral if he does it.
It's not a fumble? Would it be just a fumble?
It's not a fumble. He stepped out.
Oh, okay. First down and 10. Rudock in at quarterback, and they're going to look at this one. Let's take one more look at exactly what happened. When did his foot touch? And
well, from that look, ball's out.
Before his foot hits out of bounds, right?
Yeah, I think that ball's out before his foot touches down. There you see that, and there you see that. So, if it's a forward lateral recovered by Tennessee, they could decline the penalty for the forward lateral and have a recovery.
I'm not sure that I've ever seen anything like that happen.
I can't imagine why you would even think to do that.
Michael Mothershed, our official down there today.
But no flag was thrown for anything.
Here's the call.
The ruling on the field was that the player stepped out of bounds and that the ball was dead. Therefore, Iowa will get the ball at the spot, at the out-of-bounds spot. The previous play is under review.
Okay, so we got the ruling and that it is indeed under review. He's still in bounds there, and then Tennessee did recover it in the immediate aftermath.
I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, from the very start, it just seemed to me you're throwing an illegal pass if you try to do that. And what's the point? You can't do it.
Yeah.
But they didn't throw a flag to say illegal forward pass or anything, or illegal forward lateral. So there was no penalty ruled on the play. You can't review it from upstairs and call it a penalty.
I think the fans are about as perplexed as anybody else. Why? I want to know why it isn't just a loss of possession and a fumble.
After review, it is ruled an incomplete forward pass. Therefore, you will have a penalty for an illegal forward pass half the distance to the goal line. First down, Iowa.
Well, there's a candidate for a Friday not top 10 play either way.
Well, yeah, I mean, they didn't call it on the field as such. They ruled him out. They overruled it and said that it was an illegal forward pass, which is what we thought from the beginning. Why would you throw it? Yeah. There's no upside to throwing it. You can't do it. It's not allowed.
Iowa losing their composure a little bit here. Let's see who's in at quarterback for the Hawkeyes. We've seen a couple of appearances from Rudock and Beathard.
Well, they got to get it in gear because Hurd has 95 yards rushing. That's more than Iowa's total yards of 69.
Rudock in a quarterback, Rod.
Since we were buzzed by replay.
We're playing musical quarterbacks.
See how long this lasts. Starting from their own 2-yard line. Rudock going to run it out of his end zone. Get a little bit of breathing room and then some, enough for the first down.
That should be a flag.
And the defense is going to help out the Hawkeyes offensively. Barnett there in hot pursuit.
Yeah, that was Barnett taking an unnecessary shot at the end of the play, and it looks like he hurt himself as well.
That's the talented true freshman. He was a freshman All-American and All-SEC.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds, number 9 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. It's an automatic first down.
Hawkeyes with a big break. One more look at the penalty.
So he's chasing, and he's not even in the frame there. I can't see how he hurt himself.
Timeout.
Yeah, he's still being attended to on the sidelines. Timeout on the field. 1st and 10 Iowa when we come back. TaxSlayer Bowl festivities. First down and 10. 11.5 to go in the first half. Iowa with the football. Kinziri straight ahead. Rod, we had talked at the top of the show. You mentioned Wiseman a little dinged up. Are you surprised we haven't seen a little bit more of him? You think the injury has something to do with it?
Could be. I don't know. I would have thought that they would have tried to give him a little bit more earlier to find out, and maybe they discovered in warm-ups he couldn't handle it, but he's really not been out there very much. It's been a lot more Kinziri than anyone else.
7-yard gain on the play. Kinziri again. Going to make it a 3rd and about 1 to go. Let's go back to Chris Cotter in the studio.
Time for Sports Center right now, brought to you by Great Clips. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl earlier today, trailing Pitt 31-6 in the fourth quarter. Houston storms all the way back. Greg Ward finds Deontay Greenberry on the two-point try. Cougars win, capping the largest fourth quarter comeback in bowl history. Mark Rod, you're never out of it during bowl season.
Gotta love it. I'm still getting over the Popeye's chicken ending of the Bahamas Bowl.
And that, hey, pick your bowl. Pick your bowl. We've had so many exciting finishes, and that Houston game was just nuts.
3rd and 1. Wiseman dotting the I. He gets the call here. And he's not going to get it. Stopped up short. Reeves Maben coming in to make the stop on the play. 4th down coming up.
I don't get this. We talked about speed versus power. You're not fast enough to do this. You're not going to get to the edge on Tennessee. Certainly not Wiseman. Not with those guys out there, those linebackers that can just fly to the edge. I don't get that call.
Dylan Kidd, as a result, into punt from his own 25. Sutton back deep, calling for the fair catch at the 34-yard line. It'll be Tennessee football when we come back, as Josh Dobbs continues that masterpiece.
Downhill when you're even with the quarterback.
And there's one of those cues that they may have picked up on as they run it with Hurd. Meanwhile, with respect to their passing game, Dobbs is a perfect 7 for 7 passing for 45 yards today. So the Tennessee offense keeping the Hawkeye defense on their heels.
Could Tennessee be serving notice that next season the East is wide open?
Here's Hurd.
Straight ahead. Get behind the quarterback, straight ahead.
Right between the tackles. 3rd down coming up. Jewell making the stop.
That's what we were talking about in that package we just showed you. Look at him. There's Hurd. He is a couple yards behind the quarterback. Easier to run straight ahead downhill. Not likely to be, you know, a perimeter run. More likely to be downhill. So if you're a linebacker, you're picking up on where the quarterback lines up if you can see it. The running back, that is.
3rd and 8 coming up. Pearson in motion to the top of your screen. Dobbs fires a little bit high, and that's his first incompletion. Now 7 of 8. That intended for Von Pearson. And for one of the few times today, Tennessee does not score. The only time today they haven't scored a touchdown after possessing the ball. This is their first punt coming up.
Well, and if you're Iowa, this is your opportunity to create something. You need some momentum. You just got to stop. Now you have to come up with something on special teams or on offense. I just don't know where the chunk plays, the big plays, will come from their offense.
Matt Darr into punt, his first of the day. He had a great game in the last outing against Vanderbilt. He really flipped the field in Tennessee's favor. The fair catch called by McCarron after a 35-yard punt, nothing on the return. And here's the scene as Barnett goes into the locker room after being called for that late hit. Derek Barnett, the talented freshman,
hurt himself when he fell on the sideline after the late hit. Here's the play, the late hit on Rudock. And he was down for a minute. It appeared to be the left shoulder that was an issue for him, the way he landed.
Meanwhile, Rod Beathard back in on this quarterback merry-go-round for Iowa. And Ziri, the deep back. And Beathard outruns the defense. Picks up a few yards on the play.
Well, he was trying to roll out and get the ball to his tight end, Hamilton, who was running a shallow cross behind the linebackers. But there was just too much speed by Corey Vereen, who never allowed Rudock to turn and set his feet and throw the ball.
A Tennessee player, looks like Corey Vereen.
Yeah, he was chasing Rudock.
Timeout for an injury.
And don't forget the national championship game up there on the top right of your screen.
Can't wait.
Oregon already a 7-point favorite against Ohio State, but tough to bet against the Buckeyes the way that they've been playing last couple of weeks.
Look, your first congrats and really props to Ohio State for getting there after everything they've been through on the field and off the field to still get their tremendous character with that program. And how about Oregon?
Wow.
I mean, we had them early in the season against Washington State, and it looked like offensively they were going to struggle. They pulled it together, ran through the Pac-12, And Oregon, boy, did they put on a show against Florida State.
You know, as much as has been said about the strength of the SEC overall as a conference, Rod, we did an entire season of Pac-12. I really think that the Pac-12 conference has been slept on a little bit in the national consciousness over the last couple of years.
Well, the last couple of years, we've seen teams play the SEC a little stronger. We've seen some of the SEC teams struggle with teams in their own division. That gap has been closing the last couple of years. And, boy, this last week, a collapse for the SEC West.
On 2nd and 8, the quick slant complete. And a first down catch by Martin Manley. Their better possession receivers. Picks up 8.
Well, they also have to get Doozy involved, their tight end, number 87. He is really their most reliable receiver, and we've not heard from him yet. They don't have the ability to get that many chunk plays, you know, the 15, 20-yard plus plays. So they need a consistent drive, and I think for that to happen, Doozy has to be involved with them.
Look at the talented tight end, 36 catches on the season coming into the game today. Pass incomplete. Intended for Ray Hamilton as Beathard took a hit in the aftermath.
Well, both these quarterbacks are being hit. And these tackles are really, really good, but the ball's not coming out. You see Sheriff that time, 68. Pushed his man to the inside, but eventually, if you hold the ball that long, you're gonna get a shot.
Here comes Barnett back onto the field. A good sign for Vols fans and the coaching staff. Still plenty of time to play. That pass is complete to Martin Manley. And remember now, if you watched some of the bowl games over the last several days, especially yesterday, Michigan State with a big comeback, you know, and Wisconsin
take a look at
Auburn.
Take a look at the pressure again off that side. There was a missed check there on the pass protection as Sheriff went inside to block. There was no one on the outside to pick up Lewis as he came in free.
On 3rd and 4. Beathard with plenty of time this time, and he's picked off at the 45. But there's a flag down. Sutton with the interception brought down at the 40. There's a flag on the far side of the field at the 48, though. So hang on a minute. If it stands, it's his 4th touchdown. Pardon me, interception.
Well, Jonesy, we talked about Tennessee jumping on the short routes because they have no fear that Iowa will run by them.
Holding number 34 prior to the pass. 10-yard penalty. That's an automatic first down.
It's against Reeves Maben.
He is an outside linebacker. And he may have more reason to grab than the corners do.
Well, it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes. And well, Butch Jones talking about the importance of this game recruiting-wise, too. He has 13 players from the state of Florida on his Tennessee roster. And he is putting together some great recruiting classes like the one that guy was a part of last year.
Number 6 rated recruiting class as of right now by ESPN, following a number 5 class last year.
Put Beathard on the move, finds his receiver inside the 30. It's complete to Matt Vandenberg. Got his feet in bounds to pick up 15.
Now he can help. He's one of the faster receivers that Iowa has, and he has the ability to maybe stretch the field a bit and open things up some. So you see a nice throw on the run by Beathard.
And a decision looming moving forward in the second half for the Hawkeyes as to which quarterback Kirk Ferentz is going to go with. So this is an important drive for Beathard. Kanziri in the backfield, the single back set. There's Kanziri, a gaping hole. Kanziri down to the 3, 1st and goal Hawkeyes. A 25-yard gain. That'll get the folks on South Dubuque Street going in Iowa City.
Well, watch what they get here, and then there's a hole that opens up. A good block on the edge over there by Donnell, 78, and then a good push out to the right side. You get the center in there, Gall, 57, helping, opening up a huge hole for Kanziri.
Wiseman now in a tailback out of the eye. Clever, the fullback. Wiseman straight ahead. And nowhere to go. They have really done a good job of stoning him today. That defensive front, when he's gotten the ball, has been impenetrable.
Well, he just doesn't seem to have the same kind of pop and explosiveness as we've seen before. And I got to believe it does have something to do with that left shoulder and the harness he's wearing.
2nd and goal coming up. Now we're looking at the sidelines for the play. C.J. Beathard leading this drive. And you would think a score would be huge for their confidence right now.
Well, I got to believe the place that they want to go is to the left side. They've gone that way 41% of the time on their rushing yardage. They've gone to their big guy.
Timeout, Iowa. It's a 30-second timeout.
Hawkeyes are going to think about their next move. And in that time, folks, time for today's Aflac trivia question. Wait, man, we had a good one. We had a good chat about this in our production meeting last night. Since 1973, which are the only 3 FBS schools to have 2 15-plus year tenured head coaches? 3.
Yeah. I got 2, and then I struggled with the 3rd one.
Second and goal. Panzeri, the tailback. And another timeout.
That's a first of the half.
This one called by Tennessee. They've got 2 remaining. Iowa with 1.
Let me ask you this. Tennessee, we've been here a couple days. We've seen the energy and passion for their fans. We've seen all the stuff with Tennessee on the field and their tapes and their recruiting classes. Is there any way Butch Jones is going to be able to calm down the anticipation for this squad for next season?
Yeah, especially with the recruiting class coming in, another
a game like
recruiting class. Yeah,
a game like this is only going to fan the flames.
Yeah, which is a good thing for them.
Oh yeah,
back in the bowl business for the first time in 4 years. Let's take a look once more at our Aflac trivia question. Give you the answer to that. We asked you, since '73, the only 3 FBS schools that have won 2 15-plus year tenured head coaches: Iowa, Oklahoma, and Tennessee.
Phil Fulmer, Johnny Major?
Yes.
Yeah. Tennessee. Hayden Fry, Kirk Ferentz at Iowa.
Little play action bootleg, incomplete. 3rd and goal coming up, and there were a couple of defenders waiting there for Ray Hamilton, even if he did hang on. So they've tried running it. They've tried passing. 3rd and goal, and Rod, down 28-0. You going for it on 4th down?
Yeah,
at this point?
I think so. I think you're 2 down territory, which is why I thought they were going to run to the left side the last play. I think at some point now you got to go, who are we? We're Iowa. We're a big, powerful football team. We believe in punching you in the mouth.
Well, they got number 68, Brandon Sheriff, the Outland Trophy winner on that left side. And Beathard is going to walk to the sidelines as the Hawkeyes burn their final timeout of the first half. With under 4 minutes to go, there's a look at the Outland Trophy winner. You talk about toughness. Here's a guy that earlier this year was scoped on a Monday and played the following Saturday.
How about the fact that he came back this year after getting a draft report that he was likely to be drafted in the 1st round, late in the 1st round. He said, you know what, I'm going back to Iowa anyway. He's likely to be in the top 10, top 12 now.
Some people would look at that as a real risky move financially, Rob.
Well, we've seen over the last few years, a lot of guys have come back not only to improve their draft status, but because they enjoy their lifestyle. They want that last year in college and graduated with their class and those things.
3rd and goal. Clever and Wiseman lining up in the eye. Wiseman They mark him short of the end zone. They're going to say that he didn't get in. No signal yet.
Well, the heads lineman was coming in and wanted to call a touchdown.
Now they do.
Yeah.
Touchdown Hawkeyes.
Yeah, the head linesman on the right side, he was running in and wanted to call a touchdown, but wanted to get to his guys first.
Wiseman.
You can see he's not on the ground. He's on top of someone.
Where's the ball?
Well,
we're guessing it crossed.
Now remember, if this is reviewed, this is very similar to what we've seen in the postseason. We had one the other day. The call on the field is critical because to overturn it, you have to have indisputable video evidence, and you must be able to see everything you need to see to overturn the call.
His knee isn't down there yet.
Nope. He's on top of a volunteer.
Is under review.
And that ball is right there breaking the plane.
It's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown.
And I can't believe my lying eyes anymore with some of the replays we've seen.
Well, here's the problem.
You're talking about the play in the Music City Bowl that we had.
Yeah. The problem is when you go to the replay booth, they have very specific instructions they have to follow. In order to overturn something, they really need to see things, and it has to be beyond a reason, beyond any doubt for them. They have to see everything. In this case, you got to find the ball. You got to find where the knee was down, just like we had in the Music City Bowl.
Right.
And they see he was on top of a guy. The ball broke the plane. I mean, in my view, that's a touchdown.
It appeared to be that he did get in. And if it does stand, it would be Wiseman's 15th touchdown of the year and the 31st
After review,
of his career.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
So the Hawkeyes are on the scoreboard. A chance to reduce their deficit. School record is 33, held by Cedric Shaw and Tavian Banks, a couple talented tailbacks from the past. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the name Fred Russell, one of those talented tailbacks of yesteryear for the Hawkeyes.
Good reference. I like that.
That's because Brad Banks isn't around right now. Back after this, folks.
You play Oregon, you've got to deal with their tempo, their pace.
You can't kick field goals against them.
Nope.
Let's go back to Chris Cotter in the studio.
All right, Mark, Rod, halftime report coming up in just a few minutes. Jesse Palmer will join me here in the studio. We'll take a look back at this Armed Forces Bowl, the incredible comeback by Houston. You got to see the highlights of this one. We'll also look forward to the Alamo Bowl. That's what's coming up next, Big 12, Pac-12 matchup. And then finally, a preview of the national championship game you guys were just talking about at Oregon and Ohio State. It's coming up at the half.
I wonder if Jesse has any ideas about slowing down Oregon's tempo. If you can't slow that down, and only a couple teams have done it over the last 3 years.
Arizona got a handle on them during the regular season this year. This is Von Pearson with a run in the game of about 6 yards with about 3.5 to go in the first half. Second down coming up.
Okay, let me give you just a little clarification on
Yes.
that Aflac answer. So it was 2 coaches at each of those schools. It was Kirk Ferentz, Hayden Fry at Iowa, Switzer and Stoops at Oklahoma, and Majors and Fulmer at Tennessee.
Toss into the boundary. That's Marlon Lane. Third down coming up for the Volunteers, and Butch Jones's team doing a great job here in the first half. He was concerned about handling Iowa's physicality up front, but so far hasn't been an issue. A win for the Vols today keeps the momentum going in the program. Dobbs completes it, and he keeps the drive alive with a catch by Pearson. Pick up a 4 and a first down.
You know, that last drive for Iowa was a long drive and allowed the Iowa defense to catch their breath and to work on some adjustments on the sideline. And we'll see if that helps them here. But they've been on the field way too much.
Look at the first down situation. And Dobbs kept it himself, pulled it out of the stomach of Jalen Hurd, an 8-yard gain. And we were talking about Dobbs and his academic load. Folks, I mentioned the fact he's taking aerospace engineering. That might be the easiest of his classes. Studying the playbook and studying a whole bunch of deep sciences. That pass complete to Jonathan Johnson. Now, I'm not sure how many credit hours this adds up to, Rod, but I'm spending a lot of time with the tutor if I'm looking at these. Right?
How'd you do in thermodynamics?
I punted.
Circuits and electrical mechanical components. Now physics, most of us got some physics at some point.
He wants to build airplanes, as Mom Stephanie watches. His father Robert also in attendance today. Coach Butch Jones joking, talking about Dobbs' GPA.
Please reset the game clock to 149. Thank you.
They're talking about the team's GPA, and it was a high of 2.78. Said that Dobbs' 3.2 was dragging them down.
Until they heard about how tough his classes were, they were like, never mind.
First and 10, Dobbs on the quarterback draw. Still on his feet, and a first down run to the 34. Let's go downstairs to Jessica for more.
Well, guys, you guys talked about the influence of Dobbs and his parents. I talked to his mother, Stephanie, and she said starting at 18 months, they started touring schools across the country. 18 months old, he went to Harvard. They ended up visiting over 40 schools, and Rod, you never guessed what their favorite campus was.
I'm going to let you guys handle that after this run, and that's Devin Young. I'm going to guess it's out west somewhere.
I'm going to guess it's where Jess went to college.
Oh, okay. Spent a little time on that campus yourself at Stanford, right?
Stanford and Palo Alto, kind of hard to say no once you step on that campus.
So what Mom and Dad got the process starting early for Joshua Dobbs.
He is quite impressive when you meet him.
Pretty good stats today, 9 of 10 passing. Sidestepping the rush. And got a favorable fortuitous bounce into the hands of his receiver, Vaughn Pearson. It was tipped by Loudermilk.
I love the fact he extends plays but can keep his eyes down the field. That ball is tipped. Pearson keeps great concentration to come up with it. But Dobbs extended the play. We've seen him run, take off and run. But the ability to maneuver and extend the play and keep your eyes down the field, that's quarterbacking.
30 seconds to go in the half. Dobbs looking into the end zone. Touchdown! What a catch on the back shoulder fade by Pearson.
Perfect placement of a back shoulder throw. Put it right where Pearson could come back and get it, and no one else. Look where that ball is. Back shoulder. Pearson knew it was coming there. Perfectly placed.
Tennessee in control, 35-7. As the SEC rallying today against the Big Ten. Time winding down in the first half. 35-7, 6-6 Tennessee. Looking extremely impressive here, and they rallied late in the season. Remember, winning 3 of their last 4 games to become bowl eligible, and making a nice statement today against Iowa.
This ties the record for most points in a half of this bowl game. Tennessee had it back in 1994 with 35 against Virginia Tech in the first half.
This is taken by the up man, Pleva. And in the quarterback carousel that continues to spin for the Hawkeyes.
Well, wasn't it a make it, take it thing? You know, basketball, if you score, you stay out there. Yeah. Yeah, we were told yesterday, as you look at the comparison, that if a quarterback led a drive, he'd come right back out.
And Beathard going to stay on the field. This is the first time today we've seen a quarterback, I think, come out in consecutive drives, Ryan.
Make it, take it.
Kanziri about 6 yards deep. He's going to pick up a couple yards with 8 seconds to go here in the first half, and there is a sea of orange, loud and proud right now, as the Volunteers lead by 28 points going into the locker room. One of the youngest teams in the country, and youth being served right now today as far as the Volunteers go.
Look, there is nothing you can do to slow down that anticipation for Tennessee for the second half and for next season.
Let's go down to Jessica.
Well, Coach, one of the biggest stories coming in was how decimated you guys have been at wide receiver because of those injuries. How impressive you've been, specifically Pearson on the last touchdown.
Well, he's shown resiliency the entire year, and that entire receiving core has shown that resiliency. I thought we had a little lack of intensity there. We'll get that corrected, but you know, he's made plays for us all year long, and Josh is managing the offense exceptionally well right now.
Well, a big goal has been to stop the run of Iowa, specifically Mark Weisman. How have you been able to limit him?
Well, we've been able to make him earn every yard that we get, but we have to do a much better job in the second half of containing the quarterback. But we gave up a couple big plays, but then we were able to have the big fourth down stop early on in the game, and that really helped from a momentum standpoint.
I saw you had a word with a couple of refs there. What were you saying?
I just think they're doing an outstanding job in representing their conference well.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. Can I ask you that question again? He said it's been the longest year in coaching for him, but maybe the most rewarding. 35-7 at half. Time for the halftime report. Long stride.
Yeah. There is some Robert Smith in him as well. Fortunately, I didn't have to play against Robert Smith.
Fielded on the fly at the 11-yard line. Tennessee with a chance to start the third quarter with possession here after the 28-yard line. Let's go downstairs to Jessica.
Well, guys, a big question for Iowa would be who would stay at quarterback in the second half. Coach Ferentz had told us before the game he would evaluate at half, but he just came out and said, how can I evaluate that? He said, right now, looking at these quarterbacks, and I'm also more concerned about my defense. And you hit it on the head, Rod, when you said that he has to contain and keep Tennessee from getting to the perimeter. He said, after that, we got to figure out how to tackle.
Josh Dobbs at quarterback. Down the entire way, and has had a hot hand in the first half. Hands it off here to Hurd. Tried to get the perimeter, and that time a decent job of containing him. Desmond King with run support off the corner. Gain of 3.
I think they've done okay. TD, only one punt. You know, and Jessica's point about the perimeter, speed makes it hard to tackle. You know, the faster people are, the quicker they move, the harder it is to tackle. So they got to box them in. They got to keep them from getting to the perimeter.
Already does 4th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Dobbs completes the pass out near midfield at the 48-yard line to Alton Howard, working against Maurice Fleming, and a first down for Tennessee.
Well, Iowa's got to change it up and try something different. I mean, sitting there isn't working. Maybe they have to bring pressure from the edge, but something's got to change for them to impact this game.
17-yard gain on that last play. The pass tipped up, and Iowa, in a maze of players, incomplete pass after all that. I mean, that had interception written all over it.
That was the turnover that could have given them some momentum. This ball gets tipped, and it's there for the taking. Loudermilk can't get it. It's right there for him. He couldn't come up with it. Lomax had a shot at it. Jewell had a shot at it.
There are 3 players from Iowa in the same vicinity, and neither came up with it. 2nd and 10. Hurd straight ahead.
You know, Jonesy, that tendency we showed you about the running back with depth, a couple of yards behind the quarterback, has held true on that last play. We saw once again 2 yards behind the quarterback. It's an inside run. When he's even with the quarterback, they tend to pass or they have to run laterally.
As we saw, Hurd efficient running the football. His 4th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Dobbs back to pass. Incomplete at the 40-yard line, intended for Josh Malone. And a rare 4th down for Tennessee. This is the second punt of the ball game for the Volunteers as Matt Darr trots out onto the field. Tennessee looking for their first bowl win, folks, in the last 7 years. Back in the bowl picture for the first time in 4 here today. Fielded at the 16-yard line by Vandenberg. No return on that 32-yard punt. Beathard ready to come out when we come back. Waiting for Dale to lay some rubber down for me. Derek Barnett back in the ball game defensively up front, number 9 for Tennessee. As the Hawkeyes run it between the tackles, that is Iowa football at its best right there. Kanziri with a nice gain of about 7 on the play. Too few of those today, Rod, so far. Why?
Well, they haven't had an opportunity to get anything going. They haven't been able to throw the ball and stretch the field. Everything's been boxed in, 8-man front, and they haven't been able to run against it.
Second down and 2. Beathard in the quarterback. He was the one that led them on the touchdown drive at the end of the first half. This is his 3rd straight possession, and one more burst by Kanziri. And a great block out front from none other than Brandon Sheriff.
Yep, they went to his side, and like I said earlier, they've done that 41% of the time this year, with good reason. Outland Trophy Award winner, a likely high NFL draft pick. He gets them to the edge, seals it off completely. 6'5", 320 pounds, and really good feet.
Mark Weissman now the deep back. Play action. Beathard looking downfield. And into traffic, almost intercepted by Cameron Sutton, who's been solid all year for the Volunteers in the secondary. One of their top cover corners.
Yeah, Jonesy, one change I've noticed for Iowa offensively. They've gone to a 3 wide receiver set to try and loosen up the box so that they can run. They've been able to run a little bit inside. You see now they've spread it out again. They're 4 wide receivers here on the 2nd and 10. But they've actually tried more formations to give themselves a little bit more room.
On 2nd and 10, little receiver screen and nowhere to go that time. But Damon Powell brought down immediately by Reeves Maven, a loss of 4 on the play.
Yeah, until they complete one of those deep balls, they're just really not going to have a lot of room. You see the numbers right there. Rudock been in for 12 plays. Beathard's had 27 plays. Only 1 score.
Iowa coming off a couple of disappointing losses last 2 games in the regular season against Wisconsin and Nebraska. Close losses. Trying to right the ship and end it on a positive note. 3rd and 14. Beathard over the middle and incomplete at the 35-yard line for the tight end Jake Doozy. And 4th down coming up for the Hawkeyes.
Can't blame protection. Got a lot of protection on that left side by Brandon Sheriff. Look at this. Great job. He's working on Lewis there, and Lewis has no chance of getting inside.
Evoking images of Nick Gallery. Played that left tackle for so many years and in the NFL as well for Iowa.
They've created some pretty good linemen.
Part of the culture here. For the Hawkeyes, the fair catch, no fair catch called at the 13 by Sutton. And Sutton brought down just shy of the 25-yard line. Under the lights here at Everbank Field after the 39-yard punt. We'll be back after this. Basketball team and Donnie Horner, the athletic director, doing a great job building that team. And
tell young Jonesy he was expected at the hotel. He didn't drop by.
I got to go see him. That's how it works. The pass complete to Von Pearson. And Pearson with a nice catch for 17 yards. Tennessee next year with a little bit of an opportunity. When you look at another top-ranked recruiting class coming in, the one that came in last year. 1st and 10. He's one of those talented youngsters. Hurd breaking some tackles. Rod, they've got a little bit of a chance here, you think, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've got a nice home schedule. They get Georgia at home. That helps them. You know who you don't see on that schedule? Don't see Alabama. Don't see the Mississippi schools.
Actually, Alabama was on there, but the Mississippi schools.
Are off. Alabama is October 24th. But no Mississippi, no Auburn, no A&M. They get Georgia at home. That's helpful. They got to go to Florida. Now, young team, you mentioned number 6 recruiting class coming in for 2015. Number 5 last year. I still think they're 2 years away. 2 years, not next year, 2 years.
Well, this bowl experience the youngsters are getting, like Hurd and Dobbs, is certainly helping. Dobbs on the loose. And a first down inside the 30-yard line for the Volunteers. Maurice Fleming making the stop on the 20-yard gain.
And in 2 years, this team will be a heavy junior, senior team. And your most successful teams tend to be really populated with a strong junior class and senior class. And in 2 years, Tennessee will have that. Next year, they should be better. They'll still be pretty young.
And a bunch of freshmen start games this year. On 1st and 10.
Oh, boy.
Hurd breaking tackles again. Yeah, they had a couple of dozen freshmen. 23 freshmen played this year. He's one of them. 11 of them started.
He is so good. I mean, he is such a good lateral runner.
Play fake and pass complete inside the 20-yard line. A gain of 4 on the play. That's a good play.
You don't
by
find
tight end Wolf.
You don't find many 6'3" running backs who have the flexibility and the balance and the ability to go lateral as this guy does. He can change direction.
Dobbs passes again, a high percentage pass complete to Ethan Wolf again. Gain of 6 on the play.
And the one thing about Hurd we've not seen a lot of is his ability to catch the ball today. He is an excellent receiver out of the backfield, the second leading receiver on his Tennessee team.
Hurd again, this time the Iowa defense intransigent up the middle, limiting that gain to just 3. Sets up a 3rd down and short coming up for the Volunteers. They've gone quick on this sequence and moved the ball pretty well, Rod.
Well, pace has been a big thing for them, particularly against Iowa. They wanted to tax the Iowa defense. Iowa's defense plays about 64 plays per game. They wanted to ratchet that up with their tempo.
On 3rd and 2, Dobbs going to keep it. Dobbs, touchdown Tennessee.
This is really escalating. He is having a heck of a night. Forecasting some things for 2015.
Future as bright as that orange jersey for the Volunteers and the Volunteer Nation.
Oh, and Volunteer Nation has been waiting. They are ready.
Well, Rod, you said that they wanted to tax that Iowa defense with pace. You could call that offense the IRS right now, because that Iowa defense making some big-time tax payments. Vols with the lead when we come back. Amelia Island, where one of the teams was staying. It was a nice little scenic tour. Right?
Took us a while.
Let's go one more look at that touchdown and tell us what the key was.
Well, there are a couple things you want to see. Watch Alex Ellis get a reach here, and then a nice little kick-out block there by the back lane. It's just such a good thing, and this is getting to the perimeter. Stop it right there. You see, look at that huge hole. Look at all that, because you got a reach block, and then you get your running back lane to give you a kick-out. Just, I could cruise through that.
Room service, as Dobbs is putting together some pretty impressive statistics today. And not bad for a guy that people forget now, Rod. He was the starter for just the last 4 games of the season, won 3 out of the last 4 starts. Got them bowl eligible. And he's 15 of 18 passing for 124.
He's on his way.
Well, a daunting task ahead for the Hawkeyes. And Ziri with a nice burst between the tackles, picking up the first down, got 11 on the play.
You know, Iowa fans were disappointed this season, obviously with the loss to Nebraska to end the season, but there was also the expectation that Iowa had a shot to have a big year. You know, they didn't play some of the big boys. They
Some
missed
picked them to get up in the championship.
Well, they didn't have Ohio State. They didn't have Michigan State. They didn't have Michigan on their schedule. So going into the season, a lot of people thought, hey, there's a sleeper.
Didn't quite work out. A couple of close losses, especially bitter at the end of the season to Nebraska and to Wisconsin. That pass incomplete. Beathard in a quarterback still. intended for Smith.
And if you believe in scheduling as an opportunity, take a look at Iowa for next year. Again, they skipped Michigan and the Harbaughs, the Fighting Harbaughs, Michigan State, and Ohio State. So you'd think that gives you a nice schedule. But they had that this year and did not win their division.
You had me at Fighting Harbaughs. 2nd and 10. And that really does great things for the profile of the Big Ten. With him signing up with Michigan, this is Beathard on the move, showing a nice burst of speed, running for the first down. Beathard is a quarterback, keep in mind, he did get one start this year and won that start against Purdue. But then it was back to number 2 quarterback status after that. That was all when Rudock injured his hip.
And he is the grandson of Bobby Beathard, longtime NFL GM, and has had his own little stardom in a video for Kenny Chesney. Chesney being a family friend, even though he is a huge Tennessee football fan.
Yeah, going back to the days of Conridge Holloway. Fumble. Beathard lost it, and Tennessee's got it. Brian Randolph pouncing on that loose ball for the Vols. As things continue to go awry for the Hawkeyes.
Just a bad exchange. It looked like it was clean the way it came up, but Beathard couldn't handle it. And Randolph looked like he was the volunteer who got on top of it.
As frequently as they've changed quarterbacks, I'm surprised maybe we haven't seen more of those exchange issues.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of alternating quarterbacks every possession. Beathard got 2 in a row because they scored a touchdown. I just think you got to pick a guy and let him play.
From midfield, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Volunteers. 6.5 to go in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee looking for their 7th win of the season against 6 defeats. On the jet sweep, Pearson brought down after a gain of maybe 2 on the play.
You know, I'm not sure Iowa just didn't get a little stale.
In what sense?
Well, they've been here 10 days. I don't think there's any other team in the country that goes to a bowl game as early as Iowa does. So they've been here through Christmas, through New Year's, been away from home for a long time. And they started that 10 years ago or so. And I don't know, as a player, I think I'd be a little frustrated.
Well, it depends on your destination at times. You think this is Hurd out of the backfield, making the catch and turning it upfield. He's going to be stopped about 2 yards shy of the 1st down. But interesting theory there, Rod, on Iowa and their lack of performance today.
Well, the reason they come early is they had issues before they lost a bowl game, and they had players showing up at different times from all over the country, and they wanted to come in as a team, get their work done together, and they thought that's the better, prescription for them. I don't think it's worked out that well today, obviously.
Lane in the backfield. Dobbs fires incomplete and is intercepted by Desmond King. King still on his feet and finally brought down at the 31-yard line. That's his 4th interception of the season and the 1st turnover for Tennessee today. That ball may have been tipped off of Pearson's fingertips.
Of Tennessee, he must sit out for 1 play.
Well, it looked like it was something that Pearson could come up with. It was a little bit high, but catchable. He couldn't make the play, and King was right there. Now, this gives Iowa its best field position of the day. They have a short field
Tennessee
just outside the 30.
is receiving a sideline warning.
Tennessee receiving a sideline warning. Tell you what, Butch Jones warned his team. He showed his team and his coaching staff a video before they came down here about some of the prevailing themes from bowl week. Some strange plays, some taunting penalties, some of the real things that covered the whole spectrum. And the theme being expect everything and be ready. Kanziri with a gain of about 3. And this Iowa team trying to get some points on the board in a hurry. We see Jones right there, his counterpart, Ferentz has been at Iowa for 16 seasons with NFL lineage. And he does have a successful formula. Beckard, quick three-step drop, and that's going to be incomplete. I like the way that he used the Pittsburgh Steelers model to make it successful and make it work at Iowa.
Well, that's where he got the formula from. Consistency in your coaching staff. And Ferentz looks to Pittsburgh and says, look, they've had, what, 3 head coaches in how many decades? And he's tried to replicate that at Iowa. And he said, you know, if you're at the right place and you can graduate your kids from the same high school as he's been able to do, it makes sense to stay a long time.
He just recently, a couple years ago, had a turnover from his staff with the coordinators. 3rd and 8. Beckard given time. Now is to take off. Picks up the first down, stays in bounds. That ball was awfully loose, but he makes it down to the 5. 1st and goal, Hawkeyes.
Heads up play. Got forced out of the pocket, had nothing there, was able to pick up 27 and give them a 1st and goal. Showed some wheels as he got to the outside.
From the 6-yard line.
A little concerned about ball security, as you mentioned, Jones. He was carrying that thing like a little loaf of bread, waving it around.
Wiseman in the backfield. Hillier in motion. Beckard fakes the throw and got rocked at the 6-yard line by Bynum.
Well, nobody can get open. He's got nowhere to go with the football. And he'll take a big hit here. No one's going for the fake. It's a good tackle. That's Bynum, 51, staying up high, hitting with the chest, leading with the chest. It's a good hit. Rudock on the sideline, but nobody open in the end zone. I think you have to do some rub routes, some picks. I can't believe I just said that. But you
lose your DB card, right?
You got to find a way to get a guy open, and they just can't. They can't run away from anybody.
Hamilton in motion. They're going to run it. Kenziri with nowhere to go. Might have gotten lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and goal. So, you know, this 4-down territory, of course.
Yeah. Well, at this point, seriously, take 3 receivers, put them in a bunch formation on one side, and try and free somebody out. Because one-on-one, they're not running away from guys. They're not separating to get anywhere to go. So put them all on one side, bunch them up, and try to get somebody free that way.
3rd and goal from the 7. Beckard picked off in the end zone. Ladero McNeil snuffs the drive. His 2nd interception of the season.
He's just sitting in the end zone. Watch the safeties, 37 and 33, drop into the end zone. They're just hanging, waiting, reading the eyes of the quarterback. Good job there by McNeil, 33. He was the right safety. He just reads Beckard's eyes. Takes him right to the football. Well done.
And Beckard taking some physicality. Good sign that one of his teammates has his back still.
Yeah, it was Jordan Walsh. Always protect your quarterback, and he was hustling over there to do that.
It's a 30-second timeout.
But when you're the quarterback looking into the end zone, first and foremost, you have to figure out if you're facing man coverage or zone coverage. And if those safeties are lurking in the backfield, just reading your eyes, you have to be extremely careful throwing that ball over the middle.
Well, Kirk Ferentz told us in our meetings yesterday, Rod, he said, hey, none of us are in denial right here. He said the sky isn't falling. We're trying to build something. But that's a tough sell to the Hawkeye fans watching today.
Well, they were
Albeit there's some truth to what he says.
Yeah, they were frustrated, fans alike, about the Nebraska game, a game they thought they had put away, and they turned the ball over an awful lot. And then there was some unrest about quarterback play and how Rudock played in that game. And then there was the notion that Beckard was talking about, or his family was talking about, he might transfer. and it seemed like the sky was falling. And he's trying to make sure everybody understands, no, things are being blown out of proportion. All is calm. As calm as it can be when you're down 42-7.
Lane, no gain on the play. We talked about the pace and space approach of Tennessee offensively. Those are two buzzwords used by not only head coach Butch Jones, but a certain NBA championship head coach. Tell you about that after this play. And 2nd and 9. Open downfield and incomplete. Intended for Howard, using some of that pace down the sidelines. And you know, Butch Jones received a visit and frequently communicates with Eric Spoelstra, the NBA head coach of the Miami Heat, championship head coach, and they talk a lot about philosophies that transcend their sport. And one of them, of course, pace and space, spreading people out, having a lot of interchangeable parts, and being able to be successful with that philosophy on offense. And
letting your athletes be athletes.
Well, let them play. Spoelstra made a visit to the Vols last year. Dobbs going to take a sack here back at the 4-yard line. Good surge up front by Jaleel Johnson.
Well, that was pressure. That was the first time we've seen Iowa come with that blitz. It was a field blitz. They brought the strong safety from the field side, and they had a chance to make a play and put some pressure. That was Jewel 43 who came in from the field.
Now Matt Darr going to punt from the shadows of his own goalpost. Iowa's going to get a chance to flip the field a little bit. A high spiral from midfield. And Vandenberg is brought down almost immediately. A 5-yard gain on a 46-yard punt. And could be Rudock coming in for this series for Iowa. 53 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. Mark Jones chopping it up with Rod Gilmore and Jessica Mendoza down to the field under the lights here at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Florida, part of the TaxSlayer Bowl. And I want to wish everybody out there watching today a belated Happy New Year. It was great sitting around the hotel watching all those games.
I tell you, yesterday was compelling football.
Canzeri in the backfield. 2 receivers split to the bottom of the screen. It's Canzeri. He's had a lot more success here in the 2nd half. Still on his feet. Down to the 13-yard line. Canzeri running behind that big offensive lineman, Sheriff.
Well, that's the way to go. I mean, he's the guy we've talked. Look at him just destroy his man there. He gives his running back Canzeri the edge because he just engulfed Vereen. Ate him up. And again, 41% of the time is that's where they ran this season. And for some reason, they didn't go over there an awful lot in the first half.
32-yard gain, 20 seconds to go in the 3rd. Canzeri frustrated that he slipped and fell. Had a little bit more, picks up 3 on the play.
Well, clearly Wiseman has been banged up. That shoulder injury has not allowed him to perform at his normal high level. And so Canzeri has gotten more and more responsibility. He's also back from being banged up.
Well, Butch Jones's team taking a 42-7 lead into the 4th quarter. Looking for their first bowl win in 7 years. Back with more after this. Jalen Hurd in the backfield. Iowa, though, right now with the football. 2 tight ends, and actually 1 tight end, 3 wideouts. On 2nd and 7. Rudock. Close, and they're going to mark it just short.
Well, the most productive part of their offense has been the quarterback scramble. break out of the pocket and find something, because the design runs have not been that good, and the passing attack has been non-existent. And that's because they haven't been able to stretch the field, get anything open, and so Tennessee has just been sitting on top of everything, as you see.
That's Majid.
Majid there? Yeah, Majid's down.
6'3" junior out of West Palm Beach, Florida. He grabbed his leg immediately. Almost looked like it got caught under him a little bit. Good to see him up and off under his own power. First and goal, meanwhile, for the Hawkeyes after that nice run by Jake Rudock. Rudock out of St. Thomas Aquinas, played for legendary high school head coach there, George Smith.
Just line up and go after it. And that's who you are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, not so much for today, but for your style of play, your character. Don't concede that you cannot run it in from 1 yard.
Wiseman, the deep back out of the eye. Wiseman on the call. Touchdown, Iowa. Just getting across the goal line.
I like it. I like the fact that they said, you know what? We are a power running football team, and we're going to play our style. We're not going to roll out. We're not going to try and throw the ball. We're going to line up and just pound it in. And I think even if they hadn't gotten it in there, they would have lined up and gone right back. And they do run power. They pull the right guard, Jordan Walsh. Wiseman gets in behind him. And from that other look, it looked like the ball did break the plane.
Yeah, he was in. Wiseman, keep in mind, walked on at Iowa. Third game of 2012. He moved from fullback to tailback, got a necessity, and has been successful ever since. Back with more in a minute.
Spoke with Mark Wiseman's father, Larry, about where he got started in football. For Mark, it was when he was 8 years old playing baseball. And he was pitching, and he was out there moving everyone around, telling them where to go. And when he would get mad at a pitch, he'd catch the ball back from the catcher with his bare hand. He said that aggressiveness, they knew right away that he needed him to sign up for football. It's translated ever since, and they said especially when he was a walk-on here at Iowa, and his ability to be able to get that scholarship, constantly driven. It started when he was 8 years old, of course, playing baseball.
Yeah, he is a guy that, he's an Iowa guy, as they would say in Iowa City. He's the type of player that they have been able to hang their hat on and be successful with for a couple of decades.
They do a great job of developing players. So by the time you are a junior or senior, you are a fully completed, well-rounded football player, understands the scheme, what you're supposed to do, and you've spent 3, 4, 5 years in the weight room building up your body. And they've turned out professional linemen that way, running backs, defensive linemen. They've been pretty good.
It's the onside kick and recovered by Tennessee. You know, Kirk Ferentz had a great analogy when he was talking about the profile and the type of player that they build their program on. He said, none of our guys come on campus and get out of a limo. They're not getting out of a limousine when they get on campus. These are real lunch bucket type guys. And that's not underselling their talent either.
No, it's understanding your profile and who you are and the guys that fit your program. Guys have to not only fit the style of play, but they have to fit the culture. They have to fit the community. I mean, if you don't like being in the Midwest, you don't need to be there. If you're a West Coast guy, you're going to be uncomfortable if you're there.
Marlon Lane in the backfield on 1st and 10. Dobbs tucks it under. And Dobbs brought down. Let me ask you this, Rod. It's 42-14, just underway in the fourth. Dobbs' work, I would think, almost is done. At what point do you start thinking about putting Nathan Peterman in the ballgame?
Well, I think the theory is he needs more reps.
Okay.
He's a guy who hasn't started that many games. He needs as much live repetition as you can possibly get him. And as long as you keep him out of harm's way, you know, he'll be fine. He's going to be your guy next year. There's no question about it. So get him as much time as you can.
28-point margin right now. Dobbs trips and falls forward back to the line of scrimmage, setting up a 3rd down and long now for Tennessee. Dobbs, a 6'3" sophomore. Played in 5 games this year. Started 4, won 3 out of those 4. Coaches like to say that he brings a lot of quiet swagger, if there's such a thing. Kind of a paradoxical term, but a quiet swagger to the position.
He didn't strike me as quiet when we met with him yesterday. He's incredibly personable, an incredibly bright young man, just a joy to visit with.
3rd and 9 on the jet sweep. This is Lane. Check that. Young. Reverend Young picks up the first down.
Knew exactly where he needed to get to pick it up. Stepped out of bounds after getting it.
9-yard gain on the play. Straight ahead to Young again.
You know, they've continued with pace, up tempo, even though they are well ahead, and some teams might think about trying to bleed the clock, shorten the game, but they are continuing to run their tempo and run plays at a high pace. You know, I ran into some coaches during the break, and they said their goal was to get as close to 100 points as they could. Yeah.
Well, determined is Marlon Lane. Got down close to that first down marker, 100 points. That means they're going to let the 2s and 3s, if they get in, keep going hard.
I think they were exaggerating, but the point was they were going to keep going forward, not slow it down. And right now, the Iowa defense has already been on the field for 60 plays.
Hey, Rod, with the scores we see in college football these days, 100 points is not out of the question.
That's the way we're going. You think in terms of yesterday's playoff games? I mean, big points are scored. Yeah. Oregon hanging 59 on Florida State. And how about Alabama giving up 42-35 with their defense?
3rd down and 1 for the Vols. Straight ahead, Marlon Lane. And he picks up the first down, burning a little bit of clock, keeping it on the ground, keeping the sticks moving.
You know, you mentioned the high scoring. I expect that this may be one of the highest scoring national championship games that we've had in a while. Just because
like a 45-42 high scoring,
would not surprise me to see both teams north of 35 points, just because that's the trend. That's where we're heading, and these teams are up tempo. They move it quickly. They're so effective catching the ball, throwing the ball. I could see a lot of points in that game.
January 12th, Oregon, Florida State on the jet sweep. That's Howard collared, and that's going to be a flag against number 44, Ben Neiman. An 8-yard gain, and they're going to tack some more yards onto this.
Well, Howard and others have stepped up and done a nice job with all the injuries.
Personal foul, face mask, number 44 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal line. That's an automatic first down.
That's Neiman flagged with this. There's the left hand on Howard. Again, Tennessee coming into this game with a bunch of injured receivers and other players. 4 wide receivers were down, and Howard, among others, stepped up.
Tells you something about the depth they have. 1st and goal. Johnson in motion. Dobbs keeps it and gains about 2. Close to the 5-yard line. Nate Meyer making the tackle. 2nd and goal coming up for the Volunteers. Dobbs has been, if not that spectacular, but extremely efficient in his play today and decision making. Running down the play clock, Dobbs keeps it. And he's going to be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Might have lost a yard. Jaleel Johnson and Desmond King on the stop. 3rd and goal coming up.
See, now there's Hurd on the sideline. I was wondering why he wasn't in. I don't know that I would be running Dobbs that much at 42-14. If I want him to have reps, I want him to have reps to do some reads and to throw the ball. I don't know that I need him to do quarterback design runs here and just take shots at the end of this ball game. the 10th. That was the 10th play of this drive.
Three on the play clock. Dobbs going to keep it in again on a designed quarterback run, and fourth down coming up.
Yeah, I don't know why you want him just to take those shots. I mean, you've got running backs. Put them in, let them. If you just want to, you know, buy a little yardage there and bleed the clock, and you want to kick a field goal, let somebody else take those tackles instead of your quarterback. He is your guy. He's going to be the key to your offense next year. With all due respect to Jalen Hurd, who I think will be fantastic. I think Hurd's going to be one of the outstanding running backs in the SEC, but still, the quarterback spot has got to be a healthy spot that plays well for Tennessee next season.
There will be no quarterback controversy as Aaron Medley comes in to attempt this field goal. 19-25 on the season, knocks that one through from 28. And it's 45-14 for the Volunteers. Back with more in a minute. Coming your way Monday night, January 12th, from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, at 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. This is Ken Ziri on the return as we go back to the studio.
Chris Cotter in Bristol with the Sports Center right now, brought to you by Great Clips. Bad news for Steelers fans. Running back Le'Veon Bell ruled out for Pittsburgh's game against Baltimore on Saturday night. First game of the playoffs for them. Got that hyperextended right knee. Expect Josh Harris to get the start in their backfield. Mark, Rod?
First and 10 from the 15. Rudock in a quarterback. And incomplete.
You know, you mentioned the Oregon-Ohio State championship game. I was struck by the fact last night that a lot of Tennessee fans at our hotel were rooting for Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then I had
breaking conference affiliation.
Yeah, you know, the SEC solidarity was lost for a little bit there. And then some Tennessee fans told me in the hotel and tweeted at me that, hey, there's no love lost between Tennessee and Alabama. And some of it was centered around Lane Kiffin.
Rudock complete this one. And Ziri can be pushed out of bounds short of the first down. It was interesting. We were watching the Auburn-Wisconsin game, and there were some Tennessee fans at the hotel we were visiting at the time, too. And that was kind of more split.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there was as much animosity towards Auburn as there was Alabama.
Yeah, this is uncharted territory for the SEC. There's going to be a championship game. Who are they going to root for?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no SEC team in this year's championship, and they're used to having one. Yeah. So the SEC is a bystander for this one. That's unusual.
3rd and 9 for the Hawkeyes. Rudock had it tipped at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. And a quick 3 and out for the Hawkeyes. 4th down, and Connor Cornbrath will come in to punt for Iowa.
What do you think this means for quarterbacks for Iowa next season?
Well, I mentioned the fact that, you know, this Beathard, there's been some talk about him perhaps transferring. And Rudock, I know for a fact that he's just short of his degree and to graduate and perhaps look around if he so choose to do. There's a flag, a fumble, an Iowa recovery, but will it stand?
Got to let him catch the ball.
Yeah.
Fair catch. Got to give him a clean opportunity to catch the ball. That's going to be flagged, and that's going to be a Tennessee football.
Kick catch interference. Number 13 of the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced at the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
Jacksonville aglow at night. You take it.
Right now, I'm leaning Oregon. The way they played the other night.
Okay. Tennessee first down and 10. Dobbs still in the ball game. Lane with the handoff, stopped up near the line of scrimmage. And it's always fun keeping score of the conferences at bowl season. Which one surprises you the most?
Well, I don't know, but you got the big boys winning in the Pac-12 there, and then in the Big Ten, the big boys won for them as well. Michigan State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. In the SEC, a lot of the big boys in the SEC West lost.
2-5.
And then how about down there, the Big 12? Only TCU getting it done so far.
But they made a huge statement.
Yeah, they huge,
really
huge
did.
statement. Now this does not include our game.
Well, I'm guessing that unless there's a bigger turnaround than Paul on the road to Damascus, that this is going to be a victory for the SEC, and they get that 6th win. Just to use a little biblical reference.
Yeah. Well, and you figure today you got a couple more games after our game, and that tote board will change. But clearly, the Big Ten has done well in this postseason so far. The Pac-12 has done well. The Big 12 has suffered, although TCU made a strong case that will help them for 2015, I believe.
Yeah, you look at Tennessee and the rest of the SEC East, and they have done well run it here. And that's going to be Lane. Yeah, Missouri won, Rod.
Yeah.
Georgia won. South Carolina won, and Tennessee on course to get a win. 4-0 for the SEC East.
Exactly. Now, I don't think you can minimize the impact of what gets done in the postseason here. It impacts the following season. You'll go into next season with more folks talking about the balance in the SEC, that the East is rising, the West is falling. You'll have more talk about TCU having been a legitimate, playoff contender. They may start higher in the rankings because of the way that they performed in the postseason. Yeah. And Tennessee will be one of those teams that will rise because of this performance.
Under 6 minutes to go. Dar with the punt. It caroms into the end zone. It'll come back out after the 36-yard punt. 1st and 10. Hawkeyes in a minute. 15 Eastern on ESPN. Now the Pac-12 with a chance to perhaps with a couple wins as Beathard hands it off. Pac-12 could go to 7-1 with a couple wins tonight by UCLA and Washington.
Might be easier said than done. We'll see. Kansas State. Very, very difficult. And there you see Mr. Dobbs, the aerospace engineer.
The quarterback, too. Pass complete to Smith. And his future looking bright, as is the future for Tennessee. They're going to improve to 7-6 with this win. And the wish of head coach Jones going to be realized in the realization of their hard work paying off with this bowl win. You can't say that these bowl games don't mean anything. There were almost 60,000 people that showed up for this game for both teams. These bowl games matter to their communities and to the players themselves. You can tell by the effort put on, especially by Tennessee today. Hillier with the catch.
Did you see the way Houston fought back against Pitt in that ball game? These games matter to the players big time. How about the end of that Michigan State Baylor game?
Incredible comeback, yeah.
Personal foul, hands to the face, number 4 defense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the play. First down.
It's against LaTroy Lewis. Under 5 minutes to go.
When the playoff came into being, there were folks who were saying, what about the other bowl games? Might not be that well attended or well played. So much for that notion. People have shown up and players have played big time. They care.
Beathard on the move. Brought down inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. Yeah, Rod, we did the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl and this bowl, the TaxSlayer Bowl, both extremely well attended.
That game was important to LSU and Notre Dame. Notre Dame fans turned out big time, and upon winning that game, you would have thought they had just won the national championship.
Second down and 5 coming up for the Hawkeyes, who will fall to 7-6 with a loss here tonight. And some questions moving forward, especially at the quarterback position, as Martin Manley makes the catch. And Martin Manley has set a school receptions record with the 174th of his career right there. So congrats to him.
He's had a great career. Good to see him with his name in the record books. They will miss him next season. They have some questions. They will lose a couple of great tackles. Their offensive linemen, left and right tackle.
Beathard over the middle. Complete. Touchdown, Iowa. Ray Hamilton. And a little parting gift for the Hawkeye fans.
Beathard put this ball on the money in between two guys. When he first let it go, it looked like it might be picked, but it made its way right through both those guys. They couldn't get their hands up for it. Didn't see it. And Hamilton made a great catch. That ball hit him right between the numbers.
Extra point good, and it's 45-21 for Tennessee as we go back to the studio and Chris Cotter.
Mark, just a reminder, Valero Alamo Bowl coming up next. Kickoff in about 19 minutes time. Tyler Lockett, K-State's all-time leader, receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. Heck of a return man, too. Mr. Excitement. Should be a good game coming up. K-State, UCLA next.
That'll be the last sighting for Brett Hundley.
Yeah.
In a UCLA uniform before he heads off to the NFL. And Tyler Lockett for Kansas State is really an outstanding receiver. That could be a really fun matchup.
I love how year after year, since coming back, Coach Snyder just continues to get it done at Kansas State.
Unbelievable.
That pipeline of JUCO players that they use nearby and fitting the pieces in just the right spot.
He's got a formula that works, no doubt about it.
Hawkeyes lining up for the onside kick. And fielded cleanly once again by the Vols at the 33-yard line. Now time for today's Capital One Player of the Game. It goes to Joshua Dobbs, the 6'3" sophomore from Alpharetta, Georgia.
Well, he made some key passes, but it was really his management of the offense and his footwork. Beautiful touchdown pass here, back shoulder throw to Pearson for his touchdown pass, and his ability to extend plays. Ran a couple times, got into the end zone, but he just controlled the offense perfectly. They went to him pretty much exclusively in the second half, the rushing attack, design runs, and that sophomore quarterback is going to return next season as one of the top players in the SEC East.
They have a new quarterback, Nathan Peterman, in the ball game, as the aerospace engineer to be sits on the sidelines for Tennessee. Nathan Peterman, 6'2", out of Fruit Cove, Florida.
Peterman gets a chance to get some reps after this game got out of hand in a hurry, with Tennessee scoring touchdowns on 6 of their first 8 possessions. Talk about something escalating quickly. It's 28-0 first quarter.
Tell you what, for one of the youngest teams in college football, they certainly showed a lot of poise today. 2nd and 5. New ball player in the backfield, now Summerhill.
The problem for Mr. Jones there is dealing with the off-season expectations. The recruiting classes, top 6 last year, top 5 last year, top 6 this year, a big bowl game win, a veteran quarterback coming back, perhaps 1 or 2 of the top rushers in the SEC. Think about Chudd in Georgia and Hurd here.
Another run by Peterman, hands it off to Summerhill. Meanwhile, a bunch of seniors for the Hawkeyes, 16 of them playing their final game. And the most prominent, perhaps, of that group, Brandon Sheriff, the Outland Trophy winner. We'll see him playing on Sunday somewhere.
Yeah, his football career is not over, but his career at Iowa is, and he's been really important to that program. The fact that he came back last year instead of going to the NFL was huge for the development of that offense.
Summerhill again, straight ahead, nothing doing on 4th and short.
So Weissman is a senior. He will leave. Sheriff will leave. And there you see the bucket. Man, that's got to be.
Butch is about to wear some more orange, because I think that Gatorade is orange.
How about Dobbs, the quarterback, getting involved with it? So usually it's the big lineman.
He might have scripted it. Part of the game plan. They got him on a good ambush.
I'm amazed coaches keep falling for it. They never figure it out, huh?
You need a Gatorade coach to watch your back. And Butch caught all of it that time. It's going to be a little sticky for a few minutes, but he'll take it. As Tennessee will get their 7th win of the season against 6 defeats. And a lot of momentum moving forward with another great recruiting class. Pass complete underneath. Ray Hamilton, the tight end, with the catch.
You know, this may be one of the most perfectly executed Gatorade baths I've seen in a while. Notice they got everybody away, and they had a full bucket. And they got it all on Butch. Nobody else got hit. That you know what? Quarterback executed that. Quarterback ran that play.
No collateral damage involved. Pass complete. Under a minute to go. Andrew Stone making the catch, and boy, what a great hire it was for Tennessee to get Butch Jones from Cincinnati, where he had a lot of success. It all started with their trip to Gatlinburg before the bowl game. They did a lot of team bonding. That really set the tone for this successful journey into North Florida. And a nice run by Beathard. Show me how you execute a great Gatorade bath.
Well, this is great. Look, you got the bucket here. You get everybody away. They move everybody away so they have a clear shot at Butch.
Little misdirection involved?
Quarterback got everybody away. Look at that. Perfect. And the full bucket.
Wow.
The full bucket.
Yeah, if you're the coach, you got to know something's up when people start running away from you.
Oh,
right?
but they did it so perfectly. He didn't see guys moving away. They cleared a lane and got it right there. That's Dobb taking care of that.
Great deception.
Love it.
Beathard into the end zone. And another one. Vanderberg with the touchdown catch, and Iowa with a couple of late touchdowns to shorten the margin, to decrease that margin to just 18 right now. And for Vanderberg, that's his first touchdown catch of his career.
He's one of the faster receivers, and when he was offered a scholarship last season, he was supposed to gray shirt come in late, but a spot opened up. They brought him in earlier, and he became a backup receiver, critical guy for getting down the field, and he makes the touchdown catch for them tonight.
But the final margin is actually going to be a little bit more flattering than perhaps the game actually was. But nonetheless,
only those who wager money really care.
And you know what? Beathard has a couple more clips for his highlight reel. 20 seconds to go.
Again, the question for Iowa, what happens with the quarterback position postseason? Do they both stick around and battle it out in the spring? Rudolph's been the 2-year starter. Has he lost that job now? There are some questions for Iowa going into the offseason.
It's incredible, Rod, when you look at, you know, number 2, number 3, sometimes even number 4 quarterbacks who decide to stick it out and hang around. We saw Berkovici at Arizona State this year get a great chance to make an impact on the program. And when Taylor Kelly was hurt, and you look at Jones of Ohio State, he's the number 3 quarterback. He's going to be starting in the national championship game on January 12th.
Imagine if Jones had left Ohio State. Imagine if he'd been frustrated last year and transferred. He would not have this experience.
Well, we're talking about a different Jones under the lights here at Everbank Field. His name is Butch. His Volunteers with a 45-28 win, and the first bowl win for Tennessee in 7 years. And they're going to stop the clock, though, with 19 seconds to go, as he will give them their final instructions on the last play,
which should be nothing other than victory formation. Take a knee.
This one is cooked, glazed, and sliced, folks. Tennessee will win it. 45-28. And the Vols are back in the bowl business as we go downstairs to Jessica.
Well, Coach, you've talked all season long about the importance of momentum, the importance of this bowl win because of momentum headed into next year. What did this score create?
Well, Team 118 finished. Everything in our program is about finishing. These kids have shown great competitive character all year. Highest GPA, 2.77. And now to be Gator Bowl champions, TaxSlayer Bowl champions is very special. Really, really excited for our seniors and the resiliency, and this is for all of Vol Nation coming out, supporting us like this. It's going to be a great night.
Well, and for players that really stood out, Josh Dobbs, an aerospace engineer. You talk about the importance of that academic, but him on the field lighting up. How excited is Tennessee fans to look forward to his future?
Well, again, he has a lot of room for improvement, but I thought he managed the game exceptionally well, and just really, really proud of everyone in our football organization and family, and youngest football team in America with the most difficult schedule in America. And we talked about the power of one and the resiliency, and they showed it, and they were rewarded tonight.
Resiliency, how resilient are you doing in all this orange Gatorade all over you?
You know what? We'll take it every time.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
I'm sure he will, as long as it comes in a season-ending victory in a bowl game, and there could be more with Joshua Dobbs at the helm of this Volunteer offense. Rod, it's been a great year with you and Jessica.
Partner,
I enjoyed it.
Great fun. Thank you so much.
45-28 the final score. Following the game, tune into ESPN 3 post-game trophy ceremony presented by Capital One. For Jessica Mendoza and Rod Gilmore, I'm Mark Jones. Thanks for watching. Right now we're going to send it to Chris Cotter back in the studio. Chris?